Okay, so if you're old and ancient like me, because oh man, I'm breaking 100 years old here. You probably remember back in the 90s and 2000s when if you wanted people to know that you accomplished something or you're working on something big, you actually just had to do something big. There was no way you could scream loud enough. You could only call like your mom and your grandfather and be like, "These are the goals I've set this year. This is what I'm going to do." If in the past you wanted to be known as a CEO, you wanted people to think you're important, well, you had to go and build a company and actually be an important CEO. And if you actually wanted to appear successful, you had to actually become successful, because you couldn't just take a few pictures and be like, look, I'm successful. And it's really nutty to me when I scroll through Facebook, and I'm really just making this post because it makes me want to throw up every single time. The thing is, I see entrepreneurs doing these days, you got to stop doing it if you want to be successful, because you're just cutting yourself off at the knees. Now, this isn't a post so much being like, hey, people that post on social media, they post stupid shit, guys. That's a given, okay? I'm not trying to counter that. What I'm trying to counter in this video is to point out a few things to you if you're an entrepreneur, is you should really stop doing. And if you see other entrepreneurs doing it, you should really be aware of what's going on, because it's nasty. So let's just talk about these 4 things. So the first thing you need to stop doing on Facebook, you must stop this immediately. If you've paid attention to my Instagram or my Facebook newsfeed, about the only update I've given is my extremely high GSP in Super Smash Bros. With Bowser. I recently broke Elite Smash, and I think that's even more impressive than the 4-16 club at ClickFunnels. If you follow me for anything else, you should just follow me for my amazing ability to body slam the fuck out of people on the internet. That's really the most important thing you need to know about me. But besides those updates, I really don't post much about my business anymore, and there's one reason. And what's crazy is, as my business has become more successful, the less I post. And there's a reason behind this. See, when I was a beginning entrepreneur, every single day to be like, man, I just worked a 16-hour day, did these 15 different things, and this year we're going to blow up this. This is our score this year. Everything's going amazing. You're constantly posting about all these things you're going to do and how impressive all the things you're doing are. And what you're actually doing here, what your body is actually doing, is it's just taking the quickest route to dopamine release. When you go and post that you've done something or you're going to do something, you get all the same effect of social recognition that, again, triggers dopamine that you would get from actually doing said thing. So like in the 90s, for example, you would actually have to go and do said thing to get recognition for it. But on Facebook, you can just post something that sounds pretty cool and motivational and get a lot of likes, and your brain's like, hey man, we don't even fucking do this shit anymore. We're good. Dopamine achieved. Because your brain, like I pointed out in so many other videos, it doesn't live in reality. It's a 1 and 0 machine, and the 1 is dopamine. And if dopamine's triggered, you've gotten the dopamine. There's no reason to keep going forward. So just stop talking about what you're going to do and just do it, because you're actually short wiring your brain to go and say, hey, instead of doing things, let's just post on Facebook. Stop doing it. If you see other entrepreneurs doing it, I'm going to tell you something really crazy. If you go look at like Tobias Lutkey's Twitter feed and Facebook news feed, or Patrick Collison, you go and look at his. They don't post anything. They're both billionaires, but they don't really post anything. I think the last thing I saw Tobias doing was playing a live stream of StarCraft on social media. There's a reason for that. They're actually doing things. Just go actually do things. The next thing you really need to stop doing on social media, and I see so many entrepreneurs do this, is if you see people with 16 different job titles. I had this before. I'm like CEO of SourceWave, CEO of Spectre, CEO of Market Hero, head YouTuber. It's stupid. That's just literally admitting you have no ability to focus or get anything done, because a person that's doing 5 different things is not doing any of them well. They're just not going to do it. And everyone's going to be like, Elon Musk. You really shouldn't be using Elon Musk as your benchmark of human achievement. You're going to get really disappointed doing that. That being said, when you're on social media, stop giving yourself titles. Stop giving yourself big, fancy, important sounding things. Stop giving yourself head of something. Look, if your company's not worth $50, $100 million, your CEO title isn't impressing anybody. It's not important. And what you're again doing is you're giving yourself false credit. You're giving yourself a false level of importance in your head. And Usually, like, again, in the 90s, to be a recognized CEO, you had to actually go and build a company, and then people had to notice the company, and then they'd be like, who's the CEO of this company? Wow, he's a CEO. Now you can just go change your job title on Facebook. And what you're doing is, again, you're just shortcutting your path to dopamine success. Don't do that. Don't do that. Or at least, very bare minimum, if you're going to be the CEO of your company, just be the CEO of one company, okay? If you have 5 companies that aren't doing anything or aren't doing significant numbers, it's not, okay, cool. It's just debauchery, okay? It's just debauchery, especially if you're just getting started. So stop doing it. If you see other entrepreneurs doing it, they're lost. Don't imitate these people. Imitate the people that are just being really quiet and have like works at Shopify in their title. Next thing you should stop doing, just stop giving people advice. Just stop giving people advice on Facebook. None of the problems that you see on Facebook are yours to solve. Okay, you don't have to worry about other people's stuff. Get your own house in order. If you're going out there, and I'm super guilty of all these things, by the way. My ego the past 5 years, not in check. But if you're going on Facebook and you're constantly posting advice and posting about how people can be more successful and all these kind of things, just shut the fuck up. Just be quiet. Just be quiet. Look, you do not hold the key to success. You've probably not been in business or had the hard knocks to actually be qualified to give people advice on anything. And again, the whole moral of this video is you're giving yourself an inflated sense of dopamine success. You're just going out there and telling yourself you're far more important, you've achieved far more than you actually have. And yes, I realize it's totally hypocritical of me to be literally doing the same thing I'm bitching about in this video. If you go and scroll through your newsfeed, though, and you're friends with a lot of entrepreneurs, you don't have to go very far to find the completely unasked for advice post from people that no one's looking for advice for. Just stop giving advice to people. Just stop posting it. Don't worry about it. You don't have to fix other people. Just focus on your business. And then finally, most of all, so this advice I could give you to stop doing and to stop listening to, stop posting about your lifestyle on Facebook. Stop posting about your lifestyle anywhere. If you're not worth $100 million and you're posing next to Lamborghinis, you're posing next to jets and stuff like that, you're trying to do something that you're not really qualified for. Okay? And if you're going and posting these things to appear successful, you're very insecure and you're giving yourself dopamine releases that you really haven't earned. Because frankly, owning a Lamborghini doesn't mean you've done anything important or you're successful. Going and flying on a private jet a few times or looking really good in a suit doesn't mean you're successful. Building a successful company that provides for your employees and delights your customers and generates a lot of money in revenue, that makes you successful. That's what makes you successful. And if you're going out there and posting these things and making yourself appear cool, you give yourself the illusion that you are actually very successful. You've made it. When you have not. You have no fucking clue what you're doing. You just look good in a suit and you're next to a car. In fact, the coolest thing about you is probably going to be the things that you own, because nobody knows about your companies. Nobody knows what you're doing. So you should really reverse that. You should make it so that people are in awe of the companies and awe of the things you built instead of the money you've absorbed by selling stuff on the internet. If you can do that, that's how you're actually going to truly become successful. And when you start thinking in that way, you're going to pursue goals that will actually make you successful instead of how can I make a lot of money to fill this insecure void that I have on social media. Now, on the flip side, you need to stop really paying attention to people that do this. They get a lot of attention on the internet. They assume, oh, this person is doing this and this thing. They have this and this thing. They must be killing it. And the fact is, you really should just completely ignore these people, because charming people are people that appear successful. Well, the only thing that they're doing is they're charming and appearing to you. They're not actually doing. If you go and look at many of the people doing these things, you wouldn't recognize their companies. Their companies don't even make any sense. You can't find any customers of their companies. What do they actually do? What do they actually do? And usually what you're going to find out is what they actually do is post a lot on social media. That's what they do, and then convince people that they're super successful and then sell them things that become successful. That's usually what they do. And the moral of this story is, if you're a new entrepreneur or even an experienced entrepreneur, I did this stuff up until when I was an experienced entrepreneur, you end up falling in this trap because you see all the other talking entrepreneurs doing this, and people that talk the loudest, because that's the number one thing you see is the talkers. You think, oh, this is the arena that I'm playing in. It's simply not. The actual entrepreneur arena is being played silently by people that are actually doing stuff. They're not on social media. And when you are in this arena of talkers, you're going to get absorbed into it. So I'm warning you right now, get out of it. You're going to end up posting stuff, congratulating yourself for stuff you haven't done yet. You're going to go out there and pursue meaningless titles and meaningless achievements that appear meaningful but aren't meaningful. And they don't really matter more than the pixels that are on the computer screen. You're going to go out there and you're going to have this inflated sense of importance where you're constantly giving advice when your house is not really in order. You haven't gone through enough dog shit to really be giving anybody advice. And frankly, you shouldn't be wasting your time giving people advice in the first place and thinking of how you can fix other people. Fix your own shit first. Fix your own shit first. And then you're going to be out there playing this success meter game where people, especially the talkers, are focused on money to fund their appearance. But that's not what wealth is. That's not what building something great is. It's again going out there and building a company that people want to work at and customers are in love with. And then at the end of the day, grows and provides jobs for lots of people and makes a lot of customers very happy. That's the ultimate form of success right there. It doesn't look like a lot of those things that you see people posting about. And a person that can earn those things, that really isn't any qualification of success. And then if you don't realize this soon enough, you just end up in this little whirlpool where you're stopping yourself from moving forward because you're releasing dopamine way too early. And you're focused on all the wrong yardsticks, and you're even listening to people that have no idea what they're talking about. And it's silly. Don't do it. So stop posting this stuff on Facebook. Stop behaving in this way. It not only grosses people out and is brutally apparent to anybody that's actually successful in business, it's also going to hurt you in the long term. There's no shortage of stupid stuff that's going to be posted on Facebook, but don't be part of it. That's it. I'll see you in the next video.